to, and I'm going to get started. So we'll hopefully Susie will be able to connect to her audio soon, and no doubt we'll have other people joining us as we go along. So welcome, ladies. Welcome to Unlock Your Voice. Communicate with confidence. Now, who wants to know? I mean, obviously you're here, so you want to know how to do that, which is very exciting. But I am so thrilled to be doing this today. I have to say, this is a brand new workshop that I've put together. So this morning, I'm literally putting everything that I'm going to teach you today into action because I'm unleashing my own voice in a new way that I've never done before. And, you know, and a lot of work that I do is around the area of confidence. Actually, all the work I do is around the area of confidence. Hello, Teresa. Thank you for joining us. Lovely to have you here, darling. Susie, I can see that hopefully you've connected to your audio now. So what I want to do straight away, ladies, is before we go any further, some of you, well, we've already been having a little chat, but I would love to, you know, I want this to be an interactive day. I don't want it to be just me talking for the next 2 hours because, you know, I don't know. I hope you won't fall asleep, but I want it to be all of us getting involved. So as we go along this morning, feel free to use the chat to engage with me and each other. While I'm presenting, I probably won't be checking the chat a lot, but there will be times when, you know, I'll come back to it and I'll have a look to find out what you've said. I'm also going to be giving you chances to unmute yourself and share any experiences that you have along the way or ask any questions that you might have as well. But before we go any further this morning, what I would love each of us to do is to go around, and we'll do this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here. So just share your name, where you're from, what you do, and why you've come to this workshop in particular. So let's start with, who am I going to start with? Look, Melanie, you're unmuted. Go for it, girlfriend. You talked yourself in for that one, didn't you?
I hate going first. Okay, I'm Melanie, as you can probably see my name there. I'm from Sydney. I'm actually living in well, it was formerly lockdown central. So I've been, one reason why I'm here is because I just actually, I haven't been able to catch any of Ali's meetups before because I've been studying and I've just finished and I'm in lockdown. So I wanted to do it's a semi-social event for me. So, because I'm really not doing anything. I have a little school fundraising business. I also work as a side job as a packer. So I pack houses, which is fun because I get paid to go into people's houses and look through all their things. So it's quite fun. It's really interesting actually. Not the actual work, but the psychology of how people live their lives. Yeah. And but I'm not doing that at the moment because I have 3 kids who we're now remote schooling, but they're also unvaccinated, and I'm worried that, you know, they might catch COVID if I go out to different places all the time. So I'm just at home doing a few things.
Wow, so you've got a lot going on. You know, you might feel like you haven't got a lot going on, I'm sure, being in lockdown, but you have. You've got a lot going on. Yeah. It is lovely to have you here, Melanie. Thank you for coming. And it is finally lovely to have you. Yes, come to one of my events. It's great to have you here. Let's go with Susie. How are you, my darling?
Morning. Good morning. Hello, everybody. And happy Hump Day to you all.
Yeah.
No, I'm from Adelaide. I'm not sure whether anybody else is. I think Ali is. I moved down from Queensland and I've been working there in management, senior management, for a number of years. My father passed and my mum hasn't been well, so hence it's now a point where I'm digging up the passions that I've been sitting on for a while and you know, starting to work with them. So it's a few steps forward and a few back with just the situation that I'm in, of course. But look, hey, it is what it is, and it's wonderful to be here with her. So, yeah, that's me in SA with the cold.
Yes, and it is cold. That's right. I don't know if you heard me say that I just turned my heater off under my desk, Susie, because if I have it on for the next 2 hours, I'm going to cook. But it was needed for a while. So lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining us today, Susie. Let's go with Aparna. How are you?
Hi, everybody. My name is Arpana. I'm good today. So my name is Arpana Christie, and I'm from India. But right now I've been settled down in Adelaide for about a year and a half because I'm doing my master's here in biotechnology at the University of Adelaide. Why I came to this workshop would be just the title. So over the past 1.5 years, I've been separated from my family, haven't seen them in a long time, friends, I've been living alone. So naturally there was a lack of motivation, and things seem to be going at a really slow pace. So it's just trying to look for external sources of motivation, and one of the things that came across was this workshop. So I thought it'll definitely be helpful for me, and that is the reason I'm here, and I'm very happy to meet every one of you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Aparna. Lovely to have you here. And I totally get I kind of get you where you're at. My daughter moved to Sydney for 3 years, so it wasn't overseas, but it was to a different state. She moved to Sydney several years ago, and it was very difficult to be away from her and have her away from me. So yeah, kind of get it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Teresa, hello, darling. How are you this morning?
I'm good. So hello, everybody. I am Teresa, and I'm from Indonesia. I'm just a college student, and I joined this because the title is interesting and I have a free time, so I just joined.
Beautiful. Yes. Lovely to have you with us, Teresa. That's awesome. And Nikki, your turn.
Good morning, ladies. My name's Nikki Manigo. I am in sunny Brisbane, sunny Queensland. So not quite so chilly here. And yes, we are very blessed here. Some people would argue the point with that, with some of the restrictions that have been going on, but that's a whole nother story another day. I'm a multifaceted entrepreneur. I have my fingers in a few different pies, and I'm here to support Ali today. So yeah.
Yes.
Lovely to meet you all.
Thank you, ladies. All right. Lovely to have you all with us. So we're going to get on with the show, let's call it. It's not really a show, it's a workshop, isn't it? We're going to get going. So thank you, ladies, for sharing with us all. It's wonderful to have you all here. I'm sure that we might even have some more people coming in. A few people did say that they'd come in a bit late. That's okay as we go. So what I'm going to do now is I just want to share with you a bit about me and why it is that I run these workshops, why it is that I have such a passion about what I do. So this is me here, 16 years old. Now, don't worry, it's not going to take forever because I'm nearly 49. So I know I'm starting at 16, but don't panic, right? But I kind of need to tell you this, because this young lady back here at 16/17 years old, she was very much a people pleaser. Who's a people pleaser? who's naturally a people pleaser? Yep, Nikki, yep, Susie, yep. And because of this people pleaser mode, I was well, I don't think it's because of that, but I was bullied at school for religious beliefs. And because of those two things together, I developed at a very early age this belief, this belief that I needed to do and say literally anything that other people wanted to keep them happy, to keep them in my life, to keep them around, and to get that love, right? Unfortunately, at the age of 16 years old, this actually resulted in my very first romantic relationship, my boyfriend, being sexually abusive toward me. He was a manipulator to begin with, but because of that people pleaser mode that I went into, I was sexually abused. However, I am very grateful to both my parents for helping me release me or get me out of that relationship quite quickly. Now, this photo here, oh my God, this photo gets me every time. It tells a story, I tell you what. So I ended up marrying at 20 years old. And at the age of 23, there's a lot going on in that picture. So we had 2 children under the age of 14 months. They were born 13 and a half months apart. My husband was unemployed at the time. We had a mortgage that we couldn't afford. Any furniture or anything that we had was given to us or bought secondhand. Like you can see, even the carpet on that floor wasn't laid. It was just put on a concrete floor. And because we needed to get the cash, we started a home-based business. Not only that, after the birth of both my children, I had postnatal depression. So I was suffering postnatal depression there. And although I didn't know it at the time, to cope with all this stress that was going on, my husband was taking drugs. So 23 years old, all of this stuff going on, you can imagine, this is like I described it as a boiling pot ready to boil over, right? And it did. This picture here is me a few years later. I say I have two low points in my life, two really low points. This is the first one, where I had absolutely no confidence in myself. I had been suffering by that time. My husband, you know, there was domestic violence going on. There was a lot of abuse, constantly being told that I wasn't good enough at anything that I did or said. And I just didn't believe in myself whatsoever. I didn't even know who I was as a person, right? But because of all that, this was such a low point that there was a stage where I had, and I described it as like a Hunger Games moment, where my husband was away from work, my kids were in bed asleep. I had gone through the house, collected all the pills, laid them out on my bed in front of me, and I was ready to take them to end my life because I had such a low opinion of myself and didn't believe that I was worthy of being around. And the Hunger Games moment came up to it, where I was literally had these pills in my hand and the glass of water ready to take them. And the only two things that stopped me from doing that were those two kids in that photo. And I get emotional every time I say that, because those babies of mine saved my life, because I couldn't fathom not being around to be their mum or not having them grow up with a mum. So I am so, you know, I don't think those kids will ever realise how much they mean to me because of that time, that period in my life alone. So again, you know, yes, I was in a domestic violence relationship. Again, my parents, especially my dad in this instance, helped remove me from that relationship, which meant that I got to embark on a whole new style of life, single mum life, girlfriends. And I tell you what, this is, it's very different. But the thing that started in this period of my life was I started to really have realized that I wasn't bad at this thing called life. I was better than I was being told, because all of a sudden I had the freedom to make my own choices and enjoy life on my terms, how I was choosing to enjoy life, right? And this was a time when I started, this was only the beginning of me learning who Ali was. I went and I sought professional help. I got myself on medication. I did anything that I knew to do at the time to improve myself. But one thing that I wasn't seeing was that I was good enough alone as a person, and the only one that I needed to work on with me. I still had this belief that to be a complete person, I had to have a significant other in my life, and I had to provide my children with that full family you know, scenario with a father figure in the house. So I went in search of a man online. I found one very, very quickly, and we moved in quickly, we got married quickly, and it was for all the wrong reasons. And I really truly believe that, you know, if I was to ask him now, he would say the same thing. But this relationship as well was abusive in the sense of it was very neglectful, and there was a lot of financial abuse going on in this scenario in particular. So I had already experienced the abuse. So I kind of, with this relationship, I knew I could see what was happening a lot sooner. I could see it was affecting my children. So I ended it. I effectively started it, but I effectively ended it as well. And this was when, after this relationship ended, this was when I really started to go on a journey of discovering who Ali is. This was when I came to the realization that the only person that I needed to work on was me. And it was really quite a freeing realization to have. It was like, oh my God, that's awesome. So I kind of let the idea go of having to have someone in my life. Now, as this marriage was ending, I was also starting a new career as a front office receptionist in a school. Now, I built up over my 10-year career. I went from being a part-time receptionist to an office manager. But in 2015, we had a new boss come in. So we'd had one boss, she'd been there for years, and then she retired. We had another one come in. Now, I tell you what, this guy very quickly showed himself to be quite a narcissist and very, very manipulative. And because of that, this workplace, which was originally a wonderful place to work, got turned into a very toxic place to be. And because I was in the hub of the school, in the front office, I witnessed and was the recipient of a lot of workplace bullying because of the manipulation that was going on, and also sexual harassment as well. I had my colleagues come to me and say to me, would you, Ali, you are in the hub, you see most of this, what's happening. Would you be willing to report this guy for sexual harassment? So given my history, right, given my history of abuse myself and domestic violence and everything I'd been through, I felt an obligation to myself and to my colleagues to do that. So I did report him for sexual harassment. This in itself was a really harrowing experience, and all that, sexual harassment, abuse, bullying that I'd had in that workplace over that couple of years had all built up to that moment where I just fell apart, totally fell apart. And I left that job. I went off on work cover originally. I got to a point where they wanted me to go back, and I just couldn't go back mentally to that position. So after, 10 years, nearly 10 years, I didn't even make the 10 years. All of a sudden, overnight, I had lost my job, my career, my income. I'd lost a lot of friends. Again, I said there's 2 times in my life that I was really low. This was the second one. That picture that you see there was actually a picture of me, apparently smiling. And this was around the time, actually, Melanie, when we started to connect. It was just after that, actually. This was me taking a picture of someone. I was sending a picture to them, trying to convince them that I was okay. Now, let's be honest, that picture is not very convincing that I'm okay. But this is the way I was feeling. It was a total loss of identity. The work cover doctors had diagnosed me with anxiety, PTSD, and depression. But the difference was here is this time there was a moment, I remember it clearly, lying on the couch, staring at the ceiling, just not knowing what to do. And there was a time I made this conscious decision. It was like, you know what? Enough is enough. I've gone through this stuff enough. So I'm going to recover again. This time, the difference is I'm going to recover well. I'm going to recover better than ever, but I'm going to take it further than that. And I'm going to use my experiences, my learnings that I've had, and I'm going to take them and help other people. Didn't know what that was yet. So today, my beautiful friends and family, they will describe me as happy, healthy, outgoing, and bubbly, someone with an absolute zest for life. And, you can see the difference in these photos as opposed to the photo I just showed you. They're real smiles. And this is how I have been able to rediscover myself, unlock my voice today and communicate with confidence. I've had to rediscover that confidence in myself. Now, my family here, this is my beautiful family. That top picture is of those little babies. They're all grown up now. They are in their mid-20s, Harley and Taylor, and I still, I hope it comes across that they are the most important things in my life. I just love these kids so much. My man child and my girl child, I call them, I don't know. The photo down the bottom, this young lady here in front is Harley's wife, Jessie Lee. They've been married for just over 2 years now. And that tall drink of water up the back, you know how I said I let go of having a relationship and needing a man? This is my partner, Craig. he came into my life. We came into each other's lives when we both least expected it. We have now been together for almost 9 years, and he supports me in everything I do, and I'm so grateful to have him. And it was amazing that he came into my life when he did. The other thing I have is a big, wonderful support network. Those top 2 photos are, I've been hanging out with a lot of people online for the last year and a half, because we haven't been able to go places. And I actually got the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to travel and meet these people in person. So these are people that have been supporting me very much in the last couple of years. The photo down the bottom there is actually the people from my workplace who we still, 5 years later, we still catch up, we still get together, and they support me in anything and everything I do. And it goes both ways too. So, I would do anything for them, they would do anything for me. So I'm, after all that shit that I've been through, I'm loving life right now. But as I said I would do, I'm actually taking it, further. And I am now using my own voice and to communicate with confidence, and to also help other ladies do that as well. So I have a passion. Yes, it's a job. Yes, it's a business, but it's a passion to help women develop their own empowered, confident identities, and I love it. I love it. I do provide powerful transformation coaching for these ladies. I provide certified business coaching as well. Excuse me. I do motivational speaking. Mostly I have done it online since starting this business. However, again, in the trip I just had, it was unreal. I was able to do a couple of speaking gigs live, which was really good. And so exciting. I hope I get to do more. And also I am the podcast host of the Purple Warriors podcast. This is something that I put together in 2019 to support women specifically who have survived DV. It's not live anymore. However, I do put it in here because you can still go to YouTube. You can still watch/listen to all the episodes. So it's still available. So that's why I come and I do these workshops and I do the meetups and I do the things that I do, because I have an absolute passion for helping women rediscover their confidence, right? And unlock their voice, which is obviously what we're here to talk about today. Excuse me, ladies, I'll just take a drink. So we are going to get right into the content for today now. And we are going to talk about, whoops, moving things around and everything's changing. We are now going to talk about the 3 pillars to confidence. So the first one is strength, right? So focusing on our strengths isn't always as easy as it sounds, right? I believe. And actually, most of the time, it's kind of the complete opposite, because I think naturally, unfortunately, we are trained in society to focus instead on our strengths. We focus more on our weaknesses, and it is possible to be so low that we forget that we've had any strengths in the first place. But we're going to turn that around today. We're going to talk about strengths, how you can find it if you don't feel you have any, and how you can grow the ones that you already have, right? So we're going to get you focusing on your incredible strength. Purpose. The second one is purpose. So as humans, we all naturally desire a sense of purpose, right? But if you don't have one, or if you don't know what your purpose is, you can actually end up feeling really lost and like you don't have anything to offer. So, you've heard a little bit about my story. This was really how I felt when I came out of that workplace. It was like, what is my purpose? I had one, but all of a sudden I didn't have one. And I felt like I had nothing to offer. So I had to rediscover what that purpose was. So, and I know that a lot of us can feel like we don't have a purpose and we don't know what it is, but I can guarantee, right, that every single one of you has an amazing reason and an amazing purpose to be on this planet right now, right? And, you know, and sometimes even if you think that you know your purpose, there might be something deeper in there as well, which is really awesome when you actually find out what that is. And the third pillar is direction. So once we get clear on our purpose, it actually becomes very exciting because it gives us the opportunity and even the freedom to create a really exciting direction for ourselves, you know. And sometimes it means a whole new direction, like I went in after leaving the job. Or sometimes it doesn't have to be a whole new direction. It might just be a slight diversion from the direction that you're going on now. So when I say this, it doesn't have to be a big change, right? Because sometimes when I say that, people get very overwhelmed. It's like, don't panic, don't get overwhelmed. It doesn't have to be a big change or a big change in direction. It might just be a slight diversion. So these are the 3 pillars that we are going to look at today. But before I get to that, I just want to take you through a journey that a lot of us go on. Now, this is something that I share with my clients in the Phoenix Method, which is a confidence course, which I'm going to share a little bit with you as we go on today. This is a confidence course that I do. So this is the Suffering to Success Roadmap. And I think I'm going to change that word suffering actually, because I don't think that all of us, you know, what we go through in life, we might not look at it as suffering. It might just be a really low period in our lives. But for the purpose, we're going to go with the word suffering, right? So this is when we are in the thick of whatever we're experiencing. This is when we're in the thick of feeling like we don't have confidence, feeling like we don't have a voice. You know, it's that really crappy period that we go through. And then when we manage to get out of that suffering period, we kind of start to look back on it and go and say to ourselves, you know, why did I let myself get into that? You know, I can't believe I just did that. You know, I can't believe I let that person do this to me, or, you know, whatever the scenario is, we look back at it with regret. All right. So we're still focusing on that situation. But then what happens is we get to a period of dissatisfaction. Now, this is dissatisfaction in 2 ways. So it's dissatisfaction in the fact that we went through that stuff, but it's also dissatisfaction in where we're at now, because you know that there's something better than this, but you might not know how to or where to go to get help. So you're dissatisfied, you know you need help, but you just don't know how. And this is where most of my clients will come to me, in the area of dissatisfaction. Because it's like, well, I know I need something, but what is it? You know, someone help me. And then I help my clients to go through realization. So this is realization that you've got a lot more to offer. There's a lot more, you know, and it's going through a process of renewal, right? Getting to this place where you're learning about yourself, you know, you're rediscovering your identity, your confidence, you're rediscovering how to unlock your voice and use it in a powerful way. So it might not necessarily be how I'm doing it today, but it might be in a way that's going to suit you. So this is the journey that I take my clients on through the Phoenix Method. And what's interesting is I see a lot, and you've heard my story and it's happened to me as well, is that it's like the steps of grief, right? You know, yes, there are certain steps, but you're not going to necessarily experiencing them all in that same, you know, all in that specific order, if you like. So what I see a lot is, and what I've done, what's happened to me in my life as well, is that people might get to that place of renewal, and then something will happen that might take them, you know, down back to that place of suffering or back to that place of dissatisfaction, right? But the difference is that these things happen in our lives, but once you have gone through that process and you've learned how to bring yourself back up, you've learned the tools and the techniques that you need to bring yourself back into that confidence, it gets easier, right? So this is the process that we go through. What did you say, Nikki? Your sense of purpose can ebb and flow throughout different times in your life. Absolutely. Yes, sometimes it can be crystal clear and others not so much. That is so true. So we are now, ladies, going to start with the first pillar, which I said is strength. So I want to ask you, ladies, pop it in the chat. What does strength mean to you? When I have spoken to a lot of people, they have told me that to them, strength means courage, energy, fortitude, power, vitality, and these are one words, and stability. Strength means stability. Now, again, tell me, what does it mean to you? There are many, many, many different ways that we can all interpret strength ourselves. To me, strength means independence. But also, as well as independence, it means the courage to be brave enough to ask for assistance when it's needed. To do what you believe. Absolutely, Teresa. Yes. So I am a very independent person because I've, over the years, had to learn to be independent as a single mum. And, I am learning now, having been independent as a single mum and, as a single person, I'm learning to be brave and ask for that help when I need it. Even with Craig, we've been together for 9 years now, and my independence kicks in a lot. And a lot of the time I have to remind myself, you know what, it's okay, be strong enough to just step back and ask for that extra love when I need it. To me, strength also means to be able to stick to your guns and push through the tough times. That's something we're going to talk about a lot today too, even when it seems impossible to push through those tough times, right? The third thing strength means to me is to be brave enough to step up as a leader, but also to recognize when it's time to step back and learn from those who are further along in their journey than you are, right? It might be further along in their business, further along in their career, further along in working on their personal lives, whatever it is. And, this is why I personally, yes, I'm a coach, but I hired a coach at the beginning of the year to help me with some personal stuff that I was going through. Because yes, I'm a leader, yes, I'm a coach, and I run my own business, my own coaching business, but it doesn't stop me from being human. I still need assistance as well. So I had to be brave enough to go deeper into myself. And it was pretty full on, but I learned a lot. As well as, a year and a half ago, I hired a business coach, and I have now learned an awful lot from this wonderful lady. I have now certified and I'm able to teach her strategies. Beautiful Francesca Moyes. So it's absolutely, I believe, a big sign of strength to, yes, stand up as a leader, but to also step back and learn from those who I said is further than you. Respect and self-respect. Melanie, yes, that's a good one. To do what I want, that's strength. Yes, to do what you want. Absolutely. Resilience to cope with adversity. Susie, good one. Yeah, I'm loving this. This is awesome. Absolutely, girls. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So that's what I mean. This is why I asked, because strength in your own circumstance is going to mean something different to everybody. And it's probably going to depend on your circumstances. We all go through periods of vulnerability throughout our lives. Being able to ask for help takes courage. Absolutely, Nikki, 100%. So acceptance, this is something you are going to hear me say a lot throughout the morning. I say it a lot in everything that I teach. Nikki knows this. Perfect imperfection. Ladies, we need to honestly accept that we are not and never will be perfect. And you might go, oh shit, that sucks. And you know what? It doesn't actually really suck, because basically, let's say no perfect version of any of this that exists. And I know that, like, before, a lot of the time when, you know, we're waiting to maybe put ourselves out there, if you're in business, you know, you're waiting to put yourself out there on social media, and you might be scared to go and do a live, or, you know, you might be scared to get out there and make new friends, whatever it is. You have, you know, you're waiting until your hair, you've got the perfect haircut, you know, you're the perfect weight, size, you know, you're waiting until you're as good as that other person is. Can I tell you what? Don't wait, because we are all perfectly imperfect. Even the celebrities are perfectly imperfect, right? I was watching the Friends reunion a couple of weeks ago, and what really struck me was these people who have been so famous for years and years and years. Matthew Perry was the one that said he would go onto the set, and like, he was the joker of the group. He would go onto the set and he would feel physically ill before he would deliver a joke, because he was worried that no one would laugh. And I went, oh my goodness, you know, we look at these celebrities as absolutely perfect and never stuffing up their lines, but they are human too. And it really got me. And something this is totally off topic, but something I've loved doing in the last few weeks is actually going back and watching all the bloopers because it pinpoints to me how human these people are. And I'm really loving it. So again, you know, none of us are perfect. We are all perfectly imperfect. And this is something that I want us to remember this morning. And, you know, it's a journey. Life is a journey. We're all growing. We're constantly learning. But one thing, to be able to accept this perfect imperfection, is to honor where we're at now, right? Be comfortable in ourselves as we are right now, but also remember that we have the choice to learn and to grow and to move forward. Okay, so can you see, this actually excites me, because when we get comfortable where we are now, this is when we can go, oh my God, you know, yeah, I am awesome the way I am, but I actually have this choice that I can move forward. I can, you know, make a better me. And this was me when I really came out of that second marriage. It was like, okay, so I know, great, I've got this choice to move forward. And also to be aware enough that you want to change. All right. You want to change your thoughts, your feelings, your circumstances in life. You want to change the fact that maybe you might be hiding because you're feeling not as good as anybody else. Okay. Now here, and I really want you to hear this, ladies, there is a huge difference between needing to change and having the desire to change, wanting to change, right? That's really important, that, you know, we get to that stage where we want to find the solutions that are going to help us grow. All right. And a lot of us, me included, certainly have gone through periods where I've just sat back and hoping that it's going to happen around me. But unfortunately, things don't generally come to us if we just sit back and wait for them to happen. So it's a matter of getting to that place where we want to change, and then going out and finding out how to do it, which is, you know, what you're here to do today, which is great. Did I forget one? No. Okay. All right. So we need to become aware of our inner monologue, right? And I call it, you've probably heard it described as the inner critic. I refer to this little voice in our head that constantly tells us all the stuff that's not right, that we're not good enough, you know, all that crappy stuff about us. I refer to her as our itty bitty shitty committee. Now, I didn't make that up. I wish I could say I did, but I didn't. But when I heard it, it just sat with me, because it is so true. It is this voice that is constantly trying to tell us, you know, you're not as good as she is, you'll never do that, you know, oh, don't bother because it just won't work out the way you want it to. And she's just tries to, you know, just get in there and tell you all this stuff that's not true, right? And what we do is sometimes, probably a lot, we allow this itty bitty shitty committee, which from now on I will say committee, so I don't have to say the whole thing. We can, you know, we let it take over and we start to believe what she's telling us. And if we don't deal with that negative thought patterns, then we can get overwhelmed with all this stuff that's coming in. And this is what stops us from communicating with confidence. And then if we don't deal with that overwhelm, what can happen is that we can go into a state of depression. So it can go a little bit further, right? And we don't want that to do. We don't want to do that. I mean, can't get my words out. Perfectly imperfect. See, I'm going to say it a lot this morning. So what I want you to do is I want you to actively listen to your committee, right? Now, you might be saying that's a bit counterintuitive, Ali. Well, actually it's not, because when you take the time to consciously hear what she's saying, then you get an opportunity to question it and go, well, what she just said, is that actually true? And I can tell you what, the answer is going to be no. And what happens here is when you consciously listen to your committee, you start to question her and you start to turn what she's saying around into a positive, frame it in a positive manner. What happens is very, very quickly you get to a point where you subconsciously, when she starts to get in there, you subconsciously hear what you're saying. And it becomes easier and easier to turn it around. So I love to give examples, right? This is an example for me. So I have a brother who is very academic. He got a master's degree in uni, and he got an honours degree in uni. You know, he's the type of guy who he's so smart. He's done a lot of study. He can pick up a musical instrument and play it, learn it like that. Whereas I'm the opposite. I am not naturally an academic person. I barely finished high school. I didn't do any further study until I was about 35. And that's okay. I've learned to accept that. However, a story that my committee has tried to tell me over the years is if I haven't gotten something right or if I've made a mistake, she'll try and say, you're an idiot, Ali. And I will hear this. I will hear myself say this, not only in my mind, but I'll say it out loud as well. And it doesn't happen nearly as much now as it used to because I've worked on it. But, you know, if I stuff something up, and I'm going to be honest here, this even happened to me last night. Last night at about 5:30, I made a mistake and my itty bitty shitty committee went, you're an idiot. But instead, because I heard it and I questioned it and I went, is that actually true? No, it's not. So I will reframe it and I'll say, you know what, Ali, you made a mistake, but you are a very smart, intelligent woman. You know what, you know this, you've got this. What can you learn from what just happened? What can you learn from that experience? So there's all the negativity is taken out of it and I'm reframing that thought. So can you hear what I'm saying there, ladies? All right. So let's look at challenging yourself every day. Oh my God. Let's face it. Once you've made the decision to strengthen yourself, right, it can be a challenge to follow through. And it can even be harder and more difficult to push through the barriers that you might come up against, that might be placed in your way, and even the ones that you put in your way and create yourself. That's a hard one to accept sometimes, but I know because I've done it, you know, I've been there, it's happened to me, I've put barriers in my way a lot of the time. But once you become a real action taker, you know, you've realized that you want to make that change, you're taking action, you're making that change, you're actually really going to love it. It's a very, it's a fun, but it's a weird place to be. You're going to love pushing yourself that little bit further each day, because you're going to start to see, once you push through those barriers and you push through those, you know, the, oh my God, I can't be bothered, you know, feeling, or it's all too hard feeling, you're going to start to see improvement. And I see this a lot in my clients, you know, and it gets to the point where they start to really love the challenge, right? And I can tell you that I have actually literally seen ladies who have come from a place, and I'm thinking of one lady in particular here, who, you know, she single mum, runs her own business, has a daughter with special needs, and, you know, she thought that everything was hopeless. She just didn't know how she was going to cope. She was having trouble with her ex. There was all kinds of things going on. But as we worked together, she actually got to a place where she was literally skipping out of bed, and she couldn't wait to go to the mirror and just tell herself, I love you, in the morning, right? And even she was doing it throughout the day as well. So when we first started working together, she kept saying to me, Ali, it's all too hard. And I just kept pushing, you know, saying, push through, push through, push through. We helped, I guided her to push through those barriers, and now she is just in love with herself again. It's amazing. So here's a bit of a fact, right? Taking responsibility for our thoughts and our actions is the most powerful attribute that we have. But it's up to us to take the responsibility to do it, because, as I said, that no one's going to come in and do it for us. We have to take responsibility for ourselves, our thoughts and our actions. So I want you to ask yourself, ladies, these questions. Are you ready to accept where you're at right now, no matter where that is? And are you prepared, or am I prepared to take daily action to move forward? All right. And the third one, I'm hoping you can see all that, yep. Even though it may not be easy, am I ready to do it anyway? And if you once you answer yes to all those questions, then you are really on the path to unlocking your voice and certainly communicating with confidence, no matter how that is. And as I say, you know, a lot of us are in business here, some of us aren't, and that's okay. But, you know, whether you are wanting to use your voice in whatever way confidently, once you can answer yes to all these questions, you're certainly on your way. So tell me in the chat, who's ready, ladies? Let's go. We all make mistakes, but only it can be difficult. Yes, yeah, it can. It really can. So I want to tell you just quickly before I open up for questions and we have selfie time, I want to tell you about this beautiful lady, Gia. Gia was actually one of my very, very first clients who came to me. And she was a lady who didn't believe in her own strength. She just didn't. Right? She was trying to break free from several people in her life who weren't serving her in a very good way at all, but she was struggling to find that strength to do so. She was struggling to find the strength in herself and that you know, that confidence in herself. But we worked together very closely, and I got to tell you, I watch her on, so she lives in the Philippines, so I don't you know, I don't often talk to her very much, but I watch her on social media and what she is expressing. This is a lady who has embraced her strength, and she has unlocked her voice in a way that I am so amazed and proud of her for. The social media posts she puts out, you know, she is sticking up for what she believes in life. Now, this isn't necessarily business. This is just her sharing her voice and her opinion in a way that's comfortable to her. And I'm so proud of Gia, and it was absolutely wonderful to work with her. So, you know, this is what finding your strength in yourself can do for you. So I want to now stop the share. There we go, because I want to open it up to everyone and ask, did you have anything so far that you wanted to share, or do you have any questions around what I have shared so far? Meh. What's meh? Meh. Mean Teresa. Feel free to add.
Me. I mean me.
Oh, me. Oh.
Yes.
That's all right, darling. So what do you mean? What were you talking about? Do you mind if we have a chat?
You said before, are you ready to change? Then yes.
Good. Excellent, lovely lady. So do you have any questions that you want to, does anyone have any questions or anything that they'd like to share? I can see Leslie. Hello, Leslie. I can see you've joined us. And Amanda's joined us too. Hello, lovely lady. You're on mute, darling. I can't hear you.
I said that, yeah, I've been listening to what you say. I was brought up in a different era and we didn't have all this sort of stuff. But so I find it sometimes a little bit hard to believe that people can't get ahead on their own. I've had the same story, but I never went looking for a partner. I did it all on my own. And yeah, I had 3 boys, worked full time, ran everywhere with them. And yeah, back in my day, well, as you can see, we didn't have all this help going on. Sometimes I find it hard to believe that people now need it so much more. That they don't seem to have the resilience that I suppose us older people had. Yeah. But it's very interesting to listen to, and I do pick up hints. So, yeah, keep at it.
Beautiful, Leslie. You know what I love about you? You are such a goer. I love you. At your age, you're coming to these things. I love it. And you're always ready to learn. I love that about you, Leslie.
Well, if we stop learning, we stagnate. So you've got to keep learning. And I think that the more I learn, the better I can understand the generation of today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming again, and thank you for sharing that, Leslie. That's awesome.
Well,
sorry,
hi, darling. You can see me now.
I can see you. Hello, beautiful. How are you, lovely lady?
I'm a bit scruffy, so I was muted, but I had a 4:30 call. This morning I was on another course program, so
yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, I love what you're doing, and the way that you talk about the itty bitty shitty committee and the inner critic, I think is if we can't get that, then we're really missing your message. So yeah, look, for me, just in what you're sharing now, and I'm just taking notes, but change comes by revelation or revolution. And revelation being that you have the aha moment, the big reveal of something's not right and something needs to turn in a different direction, or revolution, which is forced change because you just really are pushed against a wall and it's dire straits at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I mean, my own journey has been a mix of both, and I'm working towards stepping into a coaching role, so continuing to do the work. Hence, so I heard you first. I don't know how long ago. I think I've listened to you 3 times now, and this is probably the 4th.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the work you're doing. So I'm thankful to be able to be here. Newly back to Adelaide. Yeah, March, but I've lived in Central America for 13 years and got quite involved in entheogens and plant medicine, and integration is what I'm studying to be, as an integration coach for entheogen medicine, psychedelics.
Love that. Yeah. Love it. Well, thank you. It's awesome to have you here. And, as I said, I'm going to ask, invite people to share as we go along. So, yeah, feel free to pop in and use the chat. It's great to have you here.
Ah, bless you. Thanks for what you're doing.
And welcome back to Adelaide.
Yeah, back to my hometown. So it's good to be amongst all you Aussies again. Speaking the same language is such a, you've got no idea. Just, it's very lovely.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm sure. I can't say I've ever had that experience, but I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
good.
dear. All right. I'll just, anyone else, does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? If not, we'll move on. No. Looks like we're all good. Okay. Now, we are going to have time for a selfie now, because this is one thing that actually my business coach, Francesca, teaches us, is that, don't worry, Amanda, you look beautiful.
No, heck no, please don't. Just do my selfie next week. Like, literally,
Perfectly imperfect.
Still, I've got to get ready. I know there's a bit of vanity in me still. I know that's the perfect part.
You look beautiful, darling. So we're going to take a selfie, because one thing that my business coach tells us, we don't, especially with these online things, if you don't take a picture, it didn't happen, right? So we want to prove to everybody that it did happen. So, Aparna, if you're there and if you would like to pop your camera on, because we'd love to see all of us. And look at, oh, man, don't worry. You're beautiful, darling.
I'm going to get ready to go out soon.
No one's going to, hands up if you think Amanda looks gorgeous. Yeah, me. All right. I'm just going to wait for Aparna to come on if she is there. If you can pop your camera on, beautiful, that would be amazing. If not, we might do a photo. We might do another one at the end. But now, let's everyone, just say hi or whatever you're going to do, and we're going to take a selfie. So Nikki's going to go for it. Tell us when you're ready, Nikki. Smile, everyone.
Hi.
Done?
Let's just do another one. If you can count 1, 2, 3, and then we'll
go.
Hang on a second.
Ready? This is half the fun of being online. Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. All good? Thanks, babe. Oh, that's so much fun. You gotta love the selfie. See, that's part of the confidence part, isn't it? All right, so let's get back to where we were. Make sure that I share the right screen. Yes, I think we are all sharing the right screen. I tell you what, part of my perfect imperfection is that I'm not the best at technology, but I'm certainly getting better as we go along. All right, so we are now going to move on to the second part. So we're going to talk about purpose now and why we need a purpose. All right. So you know that feeling when you have a really exciting day ahead and you've got something on that you're really looking forward to and you just can't wait to jump out of bed and get on with it, right? Can you imagine having that feeling every morning? I mean, it might not be to that level, because if you're thinking that, you've got a I don't know, like my dad's got an 80th birthday party coming up. He's going to be very excited then. It might not be to that level, but I mean, if you know your purpose, you know why you've been placed on this earth, you know who you're here to help, right? This life of ours becomes so much more enjoyable. And some of us are really fortunate in that we discover or we just know what our purpose is right from early on in life, right? We know, it's just like we know what we're destined to do, who we're destined to help, right? I have watched both my children go through this right from very early ages. They have known, my son's known that he's going to be a musician and work in sound and audio and music. My daughter has known from a very early age that she was going to grow up and she was going to work in dance and movement, which is exactly what they both do. Me, however, as I said, I am nearly 49, and I only truly came to realize what my purpose was after leaving a 10-year career. So it was only, trying to do the math, 5 years ago, right? When I was 44 years old. And there was a part of me, I think now as I look back on that knew, you know, that the whole time I was going through this, that somehow I was going to use it to help other people. But it didn't come to me until the age of 44. But once it did, once I discovered what that purpose was, my life took on a whole lot more meaning, a whole lot more. And it was more than, for me, yes, you know, I decided to start running a business. Yes, you know, I needed to make the cash, you know, and all that. But it was more than a 9-to-5 job. It was more than for the sake of that. For me, my purpose became about helping people, and those who I understand, you know, those who've been through similar stuff, or you know, those people who might have not have the confidence that they need to have in life. So this was where my purpose came in. So I want to invite you ladies, you know, tell me in the chat, do you know what your purpose is yet? Or are you still working on it? And if you are, fantastic, because think of all the opportunities ahead of you, you know. And even if you know what your purpose is yet, are you still working on maybe that, you know, you're still working on, you haven't quite nutted it out yet. You know, you kind of know what it is, but you're still nutting it out. We all go through that period as well. And also, having a purpose helps us to be connected and in flow, right? What I mean by this is that we become stronger in our beliefs, in our self-beliefs, and, you know, in our generic beliefs as well. We very much become stronger on our values, our lives' values, and we feel more alive when you have, you know, like I said, like getting out of bed in the morning, you certainly feel more alive. It's like, oh, I want to get on with my day, and you feel less drained, right? And when we truly know what our purpose is, it actually gets to the point where even a setback can, because they happen, this part of life, they all happen, a setback becomes a self-motivational exercise. So, you know, it really does help you become connected and in flow with yourself. Whoops. So now we're going to talk about gratitude and appreciation. And this is a big one that I love to talk about, right? And when a lot of women come to me, a lot of people come to me and they say, you know, I don't feel like I've got anything to be grateful for. However, I am telling you that no matter how big or small, there's always something to be grateful for. And maybe sometimes when you're unsure of your purpose, this is a really good place to start, because it's actually going to help make you aware of how much you have learned throughout your life experiences, right? So think back over what you've gone through and what you can be grateful for. You know, when I think back over my marriages, both of them actually, I think, you know, what can I appreciate about those marriages? What have they taught me? A lot, a hell of a lot, you know, and it might have taken a little while, but I can look back now and just go, yes, absolutely. Did I learn from those times in my life? 100% yes. Did I learn from, you know, being a single mum? Hell yes, I'm still learning every day because I'm still a single mum essentially. But, you know, it really does help you appreciate what life has taught you when you practice that gratitude. And most people, and I know an exercise that a lot of people will do, is they will go to bed or just before they go to bed at the end of the night, they will practice gratitude. They'll look at the day just gone, or as I said, over their lives, and they'll think about what happened today that I'm really grateful for. Who does that? Who does that? I do it. And if you do it, awesome. Well done. Keep doing it, because it's a friggin' fantastic thing to do. Right? But here's something else, right? Another way that you can do it is you can start your day with gratitude. So you can think over the day that's about to happen. And you can go, you can tell yourself that you're going to be grateful for what's happening, right? So if you've got something happening that, like for me, I woke up this morning and I said, yes, I've got to do, I'm going to do this workshop. I'm so grateful for that. That's a good thing. However, you can actually go a little bit further. If you have things coming up in your day that you're not looking forward to, and we all have them, right? Practice being grateful for that as well. So, because what this is going to do is this is going to help you to enter your day in a higher frequency, with a lot better attitude, right? And if you have a particularly challenging day ahead, it's actually going to help you enter the day, and people are going to see you on a different level. So let me give you an example. So can you imagine that, the difference between entering the day of, like, so I don't know, whatever it is, you've got something on, I don't know, let's say you've got a big bill to pay, right? And you're going, oh God, I've got to pay that bill. I really don't want to pay it this morning. Oh, all right, I suppose I'll get up and I'll pay it. As opposed to if you woke up in the morning and you went, I am so grateful that I have the money in the bank to pay that bill. I'm so grateful. When you go to pay that bill, the gratitude that you are showing for being able to pay that bill, you're going to have a whole different mindset behind it. And it's also like, to go a little bit deeper, when I was studying my business certification last year, I had to do like a 6-month course, and it was really full on, bloody full on. And part of this was that every month, actually, was it every month? Yeah, it was every month we had to go on and we had to do an assessment. So and this assessment was, we had to coach our peers, and we even had to coach our coach the trainer, which was really daunting. And then our peers would assess us, as well as our trainer would assess us as well. So it was a really daunting thing. And as I said, me, who's someone who's not naturally academic, when it came to the mornings of these assessments, I had a choice. I could go, oh God, I really don't want to do this assessment, but I have to do it. All right, I'll get up and I'll do it. And keep in mind, these assessments weren't until 6:30 at night either, so I had the whole day to get through. But instead, I chose to be grateful for the fact that I had this opportunity to learn from my peers, to learn from my trainer. And at the end of it, I was going to have a certification. So I would wake up in the morning and go, yes. Well, I wouldn't quite go, yes. I'd go, I'm really grateful to have this opportunity for this assessment tonight. And again, the difference. And there was a couple of times, I'm not going to lie, when I went into the assessment and I didn't really have a good attitude, but I know I felt the difference. And I know because people told me, my peers told me, there was a difference when I went in with that gratitude. So this is going to help you with your purpose when you cultivate this gratitude and appreciation for what has happened and also for what is going to happen. I'm grateful that I wake up each morning and able to get out of bed and enjoy my day. Leslie, I love you so much. Teresa, actually, I know my purpose is on the ground and I don't need to search for it anyway. Awesome. But I haven't realized what it really is. Okay, cool. All right. So you're still working on your purpose. Teresa, awesome. All right. So now we're going to talk about building and finding strong connections as community. Now you saw some pictures of some of my community. Nikki is actually part of, you know, a wonderful support network that I have around me, which is why she was able to step in at the last minute again, which is awesome. But I have a motto, right? A lot of people who might have lost their confidence will come to me and say, I feel so alone. But my motto is, just because I did it alone doesn't mean you have to, right? And I know people feel alone, but when none of us are alone, and none of us need to be, right? Because, you know, I can tell you from experience that doing it alone is not beneficial. It's the hard way to do it, right? But, you know, we all need connection. We all need encouragement. We all need positive influences in our life, you know, that build us up and that help us move forward. And part of these, from experience, you know, something that I have learned is that, you know, there's different types of connection, and some people in our lives can, you know, maybe feel sorry for us. And, you know, while that's not a bad thing, you know, that they're wanting to help and support you in that way. But rather than having someone feel sorry for you and almost like enable where you're at, I believe that strong connections and community are people, positive people, who are going to build you up and uplift you. Pardon me. So I want to encourage you too to keep an open mind as to where these connections come from and how you find them, because sometimes they will come to you in the strangest ways and the strangest of places. And you might not even see the value in these connections at first, but they're going to become evident over time. I had when I was working at the school, the first boss I had was someone who, to be bluntly honest, I did not, well, I wouldn't say I didn't like her, but I'm saying our personalities clashed, right? We butted heads because we were two very, very different people. And there are times when, you know, we really went toe to toe with disagreements. All in all, though, she was my boss and I had to respect her for that. But there were times when I just was so frustrated. However, as we went along, I noticed that even though there was this personality difference between her and I now appreciate her so much, because this person in particular taught me so much about myself. She taught me so much about business, about leadership, about customer service, right? That she is actually one of the biggest influences in my life. And I am just so grateful for what I learned from her. You know, they say people come into your life for a reason, some for a season, some for a lifetime. This particular lady definitely came into my life for a reason and a season. We don't catch up anymore. But, you know, I would actually love to have the opportunity to say to her, thank you, because this was a connection and part of my community that I never expected to learn so much from. So this is what I mean when I say, you know, keep an open mind, because they can come when you least expect them and at the strangest of places. So let's now talk about having boundaries, having clear boundaries, right, with our connections. This is something that I talk a lot and go very deep into in the Phoenix method, because it is such a big topic, okay? And we might need to have, and probably do need to have, different boundaries for different people in different areas of our life. And clarity, real clarity around what these boundaries are, is needed, right? To be able to clearly and confidently communicate with these people. This is very much where unlocking your voice and communicating with confidence comes into it, you know, and developing good communication skills is all part of that, right? So communication, you know, it's more than conversations. Yes, we might need to have those courageous conversations with people, and I've had to do that, particularly in the last couple of months. I've had to have really courageous conversations with people in my life. And, you know, but it's more than conversations. Its communication skills are, you know, body language, how you carry yourself. You know, something my daughter always says to me, because I'm very tall, I have a tendency to hunch my shoulders. She always says to me, Mum, put your shoulders back, right? So it's how, and, you know, she says to me, Mum, you don't look confident because your shoulders are hunched. So I, you know, actively now make a conscious effort to carry myself with my shoulders back and show that confidence. It's also your tone of voice, your eye contact, you know, that there's a lot more to it. And I need your daughter. No, you need me, Susie, I can help you. But, you know, there's so much more than just, you know, talking. There's so much more to good communication skills, you know. And as I said, you know, when you do develop these really good communication skills, they can help you with things like, you know, if you're in business, making sales, upselling your clients, getting a pay rise. You know, I used communication skills in that job at one stage to get a pay rise. I felt awesome. You can use it to get a date. You can even use it to get the love of your life to put a ring on it. You know, sorry, wrong hand, put a ring on it. So there are all different reasons why we might need to develop very, very positive communication skills. But that's all part of it, all comes under the umbrella of building a strong community. Now let's talk about changes. Let's talk about change and the fact that they happen. And guess what? Changes, sometimes it sucks, but it's true that it's inevitable. And without changes, it'd be a bit boring, I reckon, right? And as I said, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to accept, but it actually takes us to be able to adapt to these changes as they happen around us, you know, in different stages of our lives, to be able to thrive and to have that stability in our lives, you know, to be able to be stable in our life's purpose. So absolutely, there are things that we can control. So like we've talked about, you know, we can control our thoughts, our feelings, our actions. We can retrain our brain, like we've talked about, listening and, you know, questioning our committee. But there are things around us, and I think we all know one thing we can refer to here, that we can't change. Things in our environment that happen and we just can't change it. You know, and some of you said that you're in lockdown right now. You don't have any control over it. And when these changes come about, they can be really, really difficult to acknowledge and deal with, right, when they happen. But what I want you to do is to remind yourself that all change comes into our lives to help us grow in whatever aspect of our life that might be, right? And a couple of aspects being what we're here to talk about today, you know, they help us grow in our strengths, in our confidence, of course. They help us to, you know, unlock ourselves, unlock our voice, and communication. So, you know, definitely the rough changes, you know, there's good changes, there's bad changes. They can certainly help as well. So when we might have gone through quite a significant change, and I've already talked about this a little bit today, you know, how have you felt once you've come through it, right? Once you've gotten to a place where you can look back over it again. It might have taken a little while before you can get to that, but have you grown from that circumstance in some way? I bet you have. And I bet you've grown from it in a lot of different ways. There also, so as much as, yes, we have times when we can't control stuff that happens around us, there does come a time or many times when we need to make the changes. All right, there's a big difference. So we can control some, we can't control others, but there comes a time when we also need to make the changes, right? So something that we really need to ask ourselves is, you know, are we allowing fear to stand in the way of taking the necessary actions that we need to take to move forward. So here's a question that I want you to ask yourself. If you had no chance of failing, what would you do? Big question, isn't it? So if nothing could go wrong, and if you had absolutely no chance of failing, what would you do? And what happens here is, and I've seen this happen with my clients too, and this has happened with me as well, when I have, when we've sat down and we've really just nutted it out, generally the first few answers that come to you are going to help point you in the direction that you need to go. And it's actually going to help you find your purpose, right? So this is a big question that you can ask yourself to help you find your life's purpose. And here, like when you allow yourself, you investigate your fears and you dig deep and you actually allow yourself to really become aware of what they are, this is when you can actually address them. So you can address your fears as well as the limiting beliefs, the inner critic stuff that's going on up here. And, you can address the impact that these fears and these thoughts might be having on your goals, on your life purpose. And we're going to talk now about having a healthy perspective on failure. And, look, failure is a part of life, same as change. Sometimes it sucks. Actually, it doesn't just suck, it's downright shitty at times when it happens. But again, I want to remind you, ladies, that failure is, they're not permanent imperfections and they're not weaknesses, right? When it happens, they're certainly not reflections on us as women or human beings, because we can actually choose and we can learn to grow from these failures, these mistakes, right? And I've got to be honest, I don't like the word mistake. I don't like the word failure. I say it for the purposes of these workshops, but in my own vocabulary, I try not to use that word, those words, because I prefer to refer to them as something that we can learn from. So learning experience is a phrase that I use a lot, right? So don't be afraid, ladies, to investigate the fears, try new things, address your fears around the new things that you might want to try, and take risks. Take risks. And just remember, while you're doing that, while you might be stepping into something new, and maybe a totally new purpose or a slightly different direction, just remember that, how does it go? Nobody's perfect. We are perfectly imperfect. And again, I told you I would say that a lot today. So I want to tell you about one lady who, has certainly and is certainly stepping into her purpose, this beautiful Amanda Crittenden. She has gone through the Phoenix method with me. And she is a lady who is really stepping into her purpose now. She's a single mum of 3. She's had a lot of abuse in her life. She's really, when she came to me, she was an absolute blubbering mess and she just didn't know where she was at. But we've worked, she's gone through the Phoenix method, and now she has actually discovered that she has quite a talent in writing. She's written sci-fi novels since she was, a teenager, right? And I had the privilege, she sent me, I think it was a couple of chapters to read in her book that she'd written. And I got to say, I read this chapter and I messaged her straight away. And I went, where's the rest of the book? I want to read it. I want to know what's happening. So this lady, Amanda, she's discovering her purpose in writing. So this is her way of unlocking her voice, and communicating with confidence to people that she wants to help. There's other things that she wants to do, which I won't tell you about now because she hasn't actually given me permission to share them. But this is a lady who, originally thought she had no purpose, but she's stepping into that purpose now. And it's very, very exciting. As well as she's learning her purpose as a single mum as well. It can be difficult to accept that change often needs to happen to enable us to move forward. Yeah, it can. Absolutely, it can be difficult, Nikki. Yeah, and it's something that it can be hard to accept. But it's a matter of kind of embracing it, isn't it? And this is where, because it's hard to accept, we need to investigate those fears around it. All right, we are now on to the third pillar, just checking the time. So we're going to talk now about direction and why it's so important. So now that we have, you might now or you're going to work on what your purpose is. This is the really exciting part. This is where I get excited. It's time to start creating a direction for ourselves, right? Have something positive to work towards, and it's so damned exciting because it's time to now take action. And now that you know your purpose, create the direction and create a way to achieve and put that purpose into action. So let's go, the action, with the like run a movie, take action. But there's always going to be times of uncertainty, right? And as we spoke about, change is going to happen. It's going to keep creeping in because it's part of life. But having a strong direction helps you stay focused on your goals. And it helps you move through these times of change/challenge, okay? Times of uncertainty. And as it says, transition as well, So remembering what you can do here is, stand in the strengths that you've developed for yourself. Remember that purpose and put your focus back on what you are striving to achieve when these changes, when these uncertain times come in. So this is why direction is important. Now, a lot of the time, when you've lost your confidence, we can just go, well, like I did, it's like, well, what do I do now? This is when I came out of the schools, like, what do I do now? And as I've shared with you, sometimes I feel like, and actually a lot of the time, I feel like my whole life has been leading and preparing me for what I do now, right? And honestly, was it tough to go through at the time? Absolutely, of course. But as I mentioned, I am, and it's kind of strange, but I'm so grateful for the opportunities that were presented to me to grow. I even think back to my first marriage and what I learned from that experience, right? At the time, I didn't realize it was happening, but I look back on it now and I just go, wow, geez, I learned so much, and in everything that's happened. At the time, I was getting through each day as best I could, right? But I have now been able to take those struggles, the crap and the suffering that I went through, and turn it around into something incredible. And I'm not going to lie, I'm proud of it, right? And this is what I want you to remember as too, if you are someone who's had a bit of a difficult past or whatever, it doesn't have to be really deep. It can be just stuff that you've gone through, any hurts or difficulties or struggles, there's a reason that that's happened. And I bet that you've learned from it, right? There's a reason that you've gone through what you've gone through. And so this is how we can turn our hurts / struggles into healing as well. Healing ourselves and healing others, which is why we can now take what we've learned and help other people grow as well. So this is all part of that unlocking your voice, right? Now, you might not necessarily want to do it the way I do and come on and teach, and do workshops like this, and that's fine. But there are so many other ways you can do it as well. If it's promising yourself that you're going to maybe be there for a friend, who's also come through something similar to what you've had, or maybe it's someone who, has lost a loved one, and you understand because you've gone through that as well. If it's volunteering or raising money for a charity that's close to your heart, You know, if it's creating a product or a service that you know that you could, maybe it's something that you could have needed when you were going through that, you're creating this product or this service for other people, whatever it is, it's taking what your own experiences that you've gone through and helping other people and helping others grow, which is really exciting. Something that I remind myself of constantly as I go through life, and, you know, yes, there are struggles that happen because we're all human and it happens for us all, you know, that as these struggles happen, we are still creating that story, right? We're still learning from things when they happen over and over and over again. And the story that you're creating is one that's going to be able to inspire people. So, like, have you ever shared, you know, something that's happened with you, an experience with someone? I don't know, you've just been chatting and you're telling them about something that's happened, and they've said to you, "Oh my God, you should write a book about that." Well, this is exactly what I mean. You know, or they will say to you, "Oh my goodness, I really needed to hear that today." You know, this is what I mean. So, although no two people are the same, right? No two stories are the same because we're all different, perfectly imperfect. We all have similarities in what we go through, right? So we can actually take what we've gone through and we can have empathy for the people when we come across, when we cross paths, right? Share our own stories of survival and or success with them to uplift them and walk alongside them. So it's us, you know, we talked about community before, it's us becoming that community and helping these people and walking alongside them, lifting them up. So, you know, no matter what you've gone through, use it. We can all use it in creating our direction for ourselves. Oh, look positively into the future, girls. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. So here's a little exercise for you. And I want to ask you, how far ahead do you set your goals? Pop it in the chat if you like. I have had, you know, most people will tell me that they've set them for, like, you know, 12 months ahead. I had someone the other day say 5 years ahead. For me, I set my goals 6 months ahead because I'm a little bit too impatient. I can't wait the 12 months. I need to get things happening sooner. It's just how I roll. So I set my goals, and, you know, I set my goals 6 months in advance. But what I want you to do is pick whatever time frame is realistic to you, right? And just like you do, or if you don't do this, when you're setting your New Year's resolutions, I want you to take notes. Write a list of things that you're going to achieve within that time frame. But I want you to take it a little bit further. So don't just write the list of what you want to achieve. I want you to visualize the type of person that you want to be as you achieve them. Can you hear that? So not just what you want to do, the type of person that you want to be around that, you know, what your dreams are, what your goals are, what your desires are. And then, take these goals and visualize them visualize yourself in these scenarios. Visualize yourself being that person, you know. I have one particular lady who, and I'll share a little bit about her later, but she came to me one day and she shared with me this story, this vision that she had for herself. And it was absolutely amazing, this vision. And as we went on together, this vision actually became a reality, but I'll share a little bit about that in a minute. But this is something that, you know, this visualization exercise, when I do my gratitude in the morning, I lie in bed and I practice my gratitude for the morning. No worries, Leslie. Mwah. Practice my gratitude for the morning. And I actually also practice my visualization as well. So I picture myself in 6 months from now achieving those goals that I'm going to achieve and stepping into that person that I want to be, that I'm going to be, because it's not I want to be, I'm going to be her, right? So that is something you can add that. You can do that anytime during the day. I personally choose to do it in the morning because it's a great way to enter my day. So we talked about taking action. I do that a lot. So especially in business, like, you know, if you're in business, and I know some of us are here, taking action is a must. It's an absolute must. But, you know, honestly, we need to do it, I believe, for the right reasons. And this is a little bit of a journey that I've been on in life as well, you know. Let's call it, you know, maybe in business in particular, is money versus the desire to help people. Why do you go to your day job? Do you go to your day job because you just do it because you have to have the money? And while there's nothing wrong with that, like obviously we need, you know, you need the cash to run a business, that's fine. But if that's what you're doing it for, ask yourself, is that truly your purpose? Is that truly the direction that you want to go in? And it's a little bit of a tough question, I know. This is a question that I've asked myself a lot. So I truly believe that once you are comfortable with your purpose and then your direction, right, this is when you can take that real positive action to move forward by turning the dreams that you have into actionable goals and take that action. And as you're doing this, stand in that strength and be unapologetically and authentically who you are, right? As you step into that person that you are going to be, right? That person that you are creating in your mind's eye. And here we go, the phrase, believe it until you achieve it. A lot of people I have heard use the phrase, fake it until you make it. Now, you know, and I choose to use the term believe it until you achieve it instead, because it sounds a whole lot better. And I think there's a big difference. A lot of people, you know, will say to me that as, you know, as they may be practicing their visualization and they're stepping into that person they want to be, they say, oh my God, I feel like I'm faking it, Ali. You're not. You are believing it until you're achieving it. You are retraining your mind to believe that it's possible, right? Just like, you know, when we're retraining our mind to create affirmations rather than letting our committee take over. So you're putting all that positive energy out there into the universe, right? So I wrote a letter letter was about a year ago now, and I wrote a letter to myself, my future self, 6 months in advance. But May last year it was, and I put this letter, put it in an envelope, put it in a drawer, just left it, didn't worry about it. And almost 6 months to the day, as you know, I was going on, I was practicing my gratitude, I was practicing my visualization, I was doing everything that I'm telling you about today. And I opened this letter almost 6 months to the day. And it was absolutely incredible because as I read this letter, I went, oh my God, I'm actually that person that I created 6 months ago. It's happening. Like, it's all here in black and white. And I have allowed that and made that happen because I've stepped into that person. It was such an exciting place to be. So this is where I say the believe it until you achieve it. This is what I was doing. I was believing it until I achieve it. And, you know, are there still things that I'm believing? Of course. Yes, of course. I have another goal in 6 months' time. So this is what I want to encourage you ladies to do as well. And again, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Push yourself that little bit further every single day, right? And if you are in a place where you're not feeling that comfortable, you know, you're not feeling confident, you might be hiding it back because, you know, everything we've spoken about today, you're not feeling perfect, you're not feeling your itty bitty shitty committee is taking over. I'm going to challenge you, make a start. All right, make a start, because you have got what it takes. We all have what it takes. And, you know, it can be overwhelming sometimes when you think, oh my God, I've got to put all this into action at the same time. Actually, you don't. You can put a little bit, you can implement a little bit at a time. And as long as you're, and I think it was Susie said something about stepping stones and moving forward. You know, as long as you are putting a little bit, you're doing a little bit, you're implementing something and you're putting into practice something on a daily basis, you're always moving forward. Those stepping stones, right? I'm here to support you do just that, because sometimes, you know, like I said, the Suffering to Success roadmap, sometimes you can take 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, however it works. And that's okay. That's all part of life. But as long as you are challenging yourself to move forward every day, that's a fantastic thing, right? But it can be, you know, as I said, it can be difficult to encourage yourself all the time, right? To do it alone. And that's where a fabulous coach, toot my own horn here, like myself, comes in. Toot my own horn. Which is a bit cheeky, isn't it? That's okay. So I want to tell you about the beautiful Robin. Robin, who has asked that I not share her photo. We have worked together, and she actually came to me last year. She came to me where she was going through similar stuff, workplace bullying to me, and she was kind of stuck. She didn't know what direction to go in. She didn't know whether to just stay and fight through what was happening or to go and get another job. She was actually applying for other jobs, but she was getting the interviews, but she wasn't presenting herself confidently at the interview, so she wasn't landing the job. Now, we worked together. We really worked to become clear on what her purpose and direction was. We worked on her strength in herself and her belief in herself. And she actually, late last year, ended up getting, I think it was three job interviews in the space of a week. She landed 2 of those jobs, so she got to make a choice, which was unbelievable. And she ended up choosing one, her dream job. She said it was her absolute dream job. She negotiated a different work schedule than what they'd advertised, and she got accepted. She even got a higher pay rate than what she was expecting. So she really you know, brought all the stuff that we're talking about today, particularly, you know, working on the direction that she wanted to take. Once she figured out what that was, she ran with it, and she is now loving life. I caught up with her a couple of months ago, and she's loving her new job. She says, I don't know what I would have done without it. So she's really happy. So I'm just going to stop the share there, ladies. And before we go on, has anyone else got any questions, anything that you would like to share about what we've spoken about so far? No, Apana, I don't know if you're there.
So, Ellie.
Yes, darling.
How do you end up finding your purpose?
How do you find your purpose?
Yes.
So yeah, I would, I'm going to actually share this recording with you. So I would go through and I would really start to go back over that section that we talked about, and, you know, discovering your purpose, and just, you know, really practicing that gratitude. If you're not really sure what your purpose is right now, I would start looking over what you've gone through in life, whatever that is. I don't know your history and what might be happening for you now, and start thinking about what you are grateful for that's happened for you, right? And when you can come up with the things that you're grateful for that's happened for you, like we said, you can take whatever that is that you've gone through and that you're being grateful for, and you can turn that into a purpose. There might be something in there where you go, oh, okay, that's what I've been through, and you can create a purpose from that. If you're still wondering, Teresa, I'd love to have a chat with you after this. I'm going to hang around for a little bit for a chat if you'd like to have a chat, but we can talk deeper into that if you're really unsure what your purpose is. How does that sound? Because that's just kind of, you know, I mean, I don't want to go through the whole lot of stuff that I've just shared with you, but that's kind of the essence of it. But I'd love to have the opportunity to talk deeper with you personally about that, if that's okay. Awesome. No worries, gorgeous girl. Anything else, ladies? No. Cool beans. All right, no worries. All right, I'm going to keep going. And tell me, am I sharing the right screen, Nikki? I'm hoping so. I can't actually see you.
It says Robin B.
Okay,
so
great.
Just need to do the next slide.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. All right, so this is, now I told you before actually about a lady who had created, you know, we're talking about visualization. And I told you about a lady who she'd shared with me this vision that she had created herself. Now, this is Sharon. And Sharon knows hands down that, you know, she is my ultimate success story. But this lady, Sharon, came to me, you know, she just did not believe in herself at all. She didn't believe that she had anything to give the world. She didn't believe she was a good single mom. She didn't believe she deserved a relationship. She didn't believe in being a leader in the church, or she was good enough, or be in business, or anything. Now, we worked very, very closely together, Sharon and I, to overcome a lot of the stuff. You know, she has also experienced abuse in her life. We worked very closely. And she shared with me one day this story, this picture that she had. And she said, Ali, I've got this picture in my mind of me standing in Parliament House. She's in New Zealand, in Government House, whatever it's called there. And I'm wearing these certain shoes. I can see the carpet. I can see the room. I can see what I'm wearing. She said, I've got this picture and I can see what's happening around me. Now, last year, this woman who originally came to me with absolutely no self-belief, she actually went for national office, or she went for, what am I trying to say? She ran for office in the national election in New Zealand last year. Every time I say that, I just laugh because I'm so, the change in her was absolutely amazing. Now, she didn't get there. She didn't get voted in. That's okay. She's still in the party. I spoke to her the other day. She still has every intention of running at the next election. She's still involved. But here's the thing. When she went for that, when she was running in that election, she came to me and she goes, oh my goodness, Ali. She said, you know that picture that I'd created for myself? She says, I just realized that the other day it happened. She said, I was in that exact room. She said, I think from memory, she was wearing the same color shoes. They weren't the same shoes, the same sort of dress. She said, but the room was the same. She said, I remember the carpet. That was what I pictured. And so she had literally stepped into her future self, and what she created, the vision that she created, had come true. So she is now, Sharon is now, as I said, she's still in this party. She's running several successful businesses now, and she is incredibly, she has unlocked her voice in a way that she it even surprises her sometimes. She's doing speaking gigs. She's done a couple of speaking gigs. Now I think she's up to about 3 or 4, where it's something that she never thought that she'd do. So she is definitely doing all these things. So now it is your turn, ladies, to follow your dreams. And I said that I was going to share with you a little bit about how I do this and how I work with my clients. And so I want to share with you today about the Phoenix method, the online confidence course that I have. And the things that we look into in this course are looking deeply into your self-beliefs, releasing any limiting beliefs and unhealthy attachments, forgiveness, growth and trust, connection, creating space, and finding your tribe. So we've gotten, a little bit into these today, but we get deeper into these in the Phoenix method. Very much we talk about abundance and expanding your consciousness, and then how to be unstoppable and creating your incredible future. Now, if that's great, so we've got the confidence course. If you want to take it a little bit further than that, and part of your direction is, and your purpose is in business, then I am, as of next week, opening the Heart and Soul Business Academy. So in this academy, you know, we can help you if you don't know what your skill set is. This is where we work, you and I will work one-on-one to find out what that skill set is. And then we will, in the academy itself, talk about pricing, packaging and branding, what you're doing, creating an effective sales funnel, business organisation and time management, effective social media setup, the ultimate organic marketing plan. So that's without paying for Facebook ads, etc. Dealing with difficulties. So this is client difficulties and all the business difficulties that we might have as well. And also when and how to grow your team. So following your dreams, right? So what you get in the Phoenix method is you'll get 3 months access to an online recorded course, private Facebook group. You will get workbooks that you can print out and use as you would like. We have a weekly live coaching circle where you can come and ask me any questions and get coaching on anything that's happening in your life or something that you're unsure about in the course itself. You get 2 individual 1-hour coaching sessions with me. And a couple of bonuses that you'll get is recorded guided meditations, which I have a couple in the pipeline. I've already got, I think there's 5 up there now. I've got a couple more coming. And we are having special monthly focus masterclasses where sometimes it's me, sometimes it's guests coming in and holding these masterclasses as well. With the Heart and Soul Business Academy, this is 6 months of weekly live online trainings. There's a private Facebook group for this as well. You have workbooks and business templates. So there's a lot of stuff that, you know, you don't need to go and recreate, they're already there. Again, we have a weekly live coaching call. This is in the lines of business as well. We'll have a sales funnel clarity call. If you don't know what a sales funnel is, that's okay. It will become clear in the course. You'll have 2 individual business coaching sessions with me, again, going for 1 hour. And you will get a bonus special welcome pack. And if you book into the Heart and Soul Business Academy today, you get another insane bonus. You will also get free access to the Phoenix method. So if you book in for the Heart and Soul Business Academy, you will get free access to the Phoenix method, which is the confidence course, which is what we all need. Because if you think about it, 90% of business is mindset. So what does it cost? Here we go. So normally the confidence course, the Phoenix method, would cost $600. I'm giving it to you today for $450. There is a payment plan available. And the Heart and Soul Business Academy, it is normally $1,500 today. You will get that for $1,100. Remembering that $1,100, you will actually get both courses. So basically you're getting $600 worth for free. There is also a payment plan for that as well. And these prices are available for 24 hours only because action takers is all about taking action, isn't it, ladies? So I would love you, and I believe that Nikki is popping in the chat now, the link to, and I can't see the chat. I'm trying to find the chat again. Oh, there it is. Nikki, she's already done it. Thank you, gorgeous lady. If you would like to book a chat with me, I've actually opened up some times this afternoon and tomorrow as well, where I would love to have the opportunity. And, you know, even if you want to just hang around now, I can have a chat with you as well. I've gone a bit high tech here because we all, I think, know what QR codes now in. If you can't click on that link or you haven't had a chance to do that, you can also hold your phone up to the screen and scan that QR code as well now. So I would love, ladies, to have the opportunity to speak with you about booking into one or both of those courses. So ladies, I hope that you have enjoyed this morning. Whoop, here we go. I hope that you have enjoyed this morning and got a lot out of it. And, you know, I want to just open it up again to ask how you went. And again, last chance to ask any questions. I'm not sure if Melo's trying to unmute. There you are.
Ali, you've done fantastic talking for 2 hours with such vivacity. I really admire you.
You know what, dude? That's why I stand up when I do it.
Yeah.
If I sit down, I think no, actually I wouldn't go to sleep because it's fun. I love doing it.
No, really, really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, darling. So what did you get out of today?
This topic's really confrontational for me, and it's like it brings up a lot of emotion, and I was struggling not to just put my head down and like stay out of the camera shot. So yeah, but it was good. I made lots of notes.
Awesome, no worries. Well, if you'd like to have a chat, I'll be more than happy to do that with you. Yeah, because it can, and I know this stuff, it can be very confronting too, you know, and like I know a little bit of your history, so I can get why that's, you know, confronting. And, you know, and I have also been to things like this myself where I get it, you just, you know, you kind of want to go, oh, that's okay. It's in my face. But, you know, well done. Kudos to you for, you know, for standing in your own strength. You're still here, you're sharing, you're being open. Well done, girlfriend. You've got this. You've got it. Yes, Susie.
Apologies, I have to shoot. So thank you very much, Ali. Nice to meet you, ladies.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you for coming today. It's been awesome. Been awesome.
Take care.
No worries. All right. Thanks, Susie.
Bye-bye.
And Teresa, don't know if you're still there. See the up home.
I'm still here.
There you are, gorgeous lady.
Yeah.
So how have you gone with today?
I just wake up. It is 8 a.m.
Oh, it's 8 p.m.
8 a.m. It was 6 a.m. when you start.
Oh, right. Are you in the Philippines too?
No, I'm from Indonesia.
Indonesia. Okay. I think you might have told me that before, but I'm sorry, I didn't understand or I didn't hear properly. My apologies. So, well, I'm hope that you've got a lot out of today as well. And again, you know, if you'd like to book into the chat, I'd love to have the opportunity to talk to you. It would be really amazing to find out, you know, get a little bit deeper into maybe around your purpose in particular, because I know that's something that you've questioned about. All right, my ladies. So thank you so much for coming today. It's been I love these things. I love these 2 hours that I get to spend with you all. And thank you again to Nikki for helping. Yes, love. How do you do it? Love. I don't do that, Brett. Is it like that? Yeah, love. There you go. I need to learn to do that. I have a friend who does it a lot, and I've never, I don't know, gotten used to doing it myself. Anyway, all right, my lovely ladies, I look forward to connecting with you and talking to you. Maybe we'll talk, you know, hopefully we'll talk this afternoon, and we'll catch you again. All right, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.